And welcome back, everybody. We're here in the semi-final for the Oceanic Championships here for League of Legends, live from PAX Australia. My name is still Pastry Time. I'm still joined by Papa Smithy, and we saw a great Game 1 there from Immunity as we now move into Game 2. Papa, what do you think X5 are going to have to do to even the series up and try and make it 3 games?
Well, it was a super interesting game, that Game 1 there. It almost felt like it was building up to a crescendo where we wondered, would the burst be able to take down Team Immunity or would it get outscaled? But the crescendo wasn't like a really cataclysmic team fight, and I know that I've now said 2 Champion Ultimates names here, but it was actually just a big decision. It was Baron or not Baron. Exile 5 Eclipse chose not Baron. Team Immunity came in, did a really assertive Baron, and they took the game away from just that one decision. Yeah,
and it's kind of nice. I mean, we mentioned the 2 professional teams that made it through to the top 4 here to play at PAX. And I think at this level, I mean, we saw great knowledge, great drafting from both teams yesterday as well. But I mean, at this level, these 2 teams know each other so well that it's just, the game is almost decided at draft. They kind of pick their champions. You expect very few mistakes to be made, and the few that were made may have cost X5 that game there. So, I mean, really nicely played from both sides, but X5 going to have to dig a little bit deeper, and I know that's a lot to ask against a team like Immunity, who are just so good and so consistent, but if they want to get here and get through to the final, they do, of course, have to take down the Juggernaut.
And a lot of what they were doing was working. Like the Jarvan counterpick to Jace was almost a masterstroke out the top lane, dominated top lane, took down that second turret, and maybe that actually cost First Mate a little bit there because they never were able to finish that first item, get that snowball going with the Jarvan item build.
Yeah, that's true, and we'll have to see if any differences in the draft moving here as we are into Game 2. Team Immunity now on the left-hand side, they'll get first pick, first ban, and of course over on the right, Exile 5 Eclipse, Ari, Twisted Fate, the same 2 bans from Immunity here, Vayne, Thresh, I believe the same 2 from the last game as well, and we'll see if they want to make any changes here. I mean, I think these 2 teams know that these 4 champions kind of need to be banned out. Immunity, I know, hate playing against Elise, so they're going to ban that one out. And now it's one last here. And this could be a big decision for X5 because this time they don't have the option of first picking and blocking a champion away.
Absolutely, and the standard bans here just tell me that Immunity aren't really worried about any other champions in the pool. It's just these are champions we're not comfortable playing against. I mean, Ari and Twisted Fate, very strong champions from Swiffer, Elise, a DJ Norman special. Now they're out of the pool.
And they do actually go for the Jarvan ban there as well, and that gives away Zac to Immunity here. Looks like they're going to snap that one up nice and quickly, and we've seen Zac do silly things over the course of the qualifier and of course this weekend, so we'll see if that continues here for Immunity. Obviously X5 are going to hope that isn't the case, and they're going to go with their first 2 picks here, and look at them here, you can see them on your screens, just kind of thinking, really know they have to dig deep here. I don't think we're going to see Teemo, especially from the jungle, but I mean, hey, DJ Norman's a great player, he could well do it.
And look, their plan A didn't work, Pastry Time. Their plan A with the hard engage, with the Jarvan top lane to just do something a little bit different didn't work, despite the wins up top lane. They don't have a Jarvan option here. It'll be interesting to see whether we see another AoE teamfight-centric comp or whether they go for something different. Because in the qualifiers, in the round of 8 and 16, they did show that they could play that high-pressure style as well, pushing down turrets early.
They really did, and we may get a mix-up. We're actually going to go off with Nami again, it looks like, for X5, and they've got to make a first pick here as well, remember, so I wonder if they're thinking about Ezreal, maybe block that away. No, going to go for a bit safer, and I mean, if you're going to blind counter-pick against Ezreal, Caitlyn's a pretty good champion in that lane.
Absolutely, I mean, Caitlyn Nami is a complete lane. Nami, some people have said, hey, she doesn't have always that lane presence, you need a strong AD. Caitlyn's the strongest of ADs in lanes. She has that long range, she has that wave clear, she does a lot of things well. So you can pretty much have any choice of support with her. Nami brings a lot to the comp. That seems to be the support they want to synergize with them. And I'm very interested to see potentially Kennen take away from First Mate, but the Annie is the current champion being mulled over here.
That's true, actually. We did mention it in the draft in the last game there in the pregame, but First Mate's played a lot of Kennen here in this, and he obviously picked Jarvan to take that away. They banned it in this instance instead against Immunity, but they thought about it. It looks like they're going to Varus for one, which I think makes sense. If you're going to have a strong laner, you want to beget it with another strong laner here, and Varus is a very good laner here. In fact, they may even do this is the Rosie special going to come out. It's Australian Mad Life time, it looks like, because Blitzcrank just got locked in.
And that's a big claim, right? Because Mad Life is known as a fantastic Blitzcrank, but every time we see Blitzcrank from Rosie, it's just on par, and the instant lock Singed comes out on the XL5 side.
So it looks like, as you were alluding to earlier, Papa, they're going to go for a little something different here, different style of comp, different, I guess, completely different comp, actually. I mean, they had the tidal wave, they could maybe go for a little bit more AoE, but no, we're not even going to get Cannon this time around from First Mate. We're just going to get Singed here and go for the split push style.
Absolutely, and we all know that Singed, he can wave clear fast. if he ever gets a gank early, he can really snowball and just become hell to deal with for the opposing top laner. I know First Mate, when I was speaking to him in the previous days, he wanted a chance to show off his Singed. On the biggest of stages, there's one right now.
And speaking of showing off champions, talked to Norman a couple of times over the last few days here, and the one champion that he is very, very good at, but wasn't too sure on his confidence in on LAN is Lee Sin. And he's, you know what, we're down a game against Immunity. If there was ever a time to bring out a pocket champion, it's Lee Sin. And I hope the pressure doesn't get to him because his Lee Sin is fantastic.
I think at this point, Exile 5 Eclipse are putting all the cards on the table, and they have to. They're 1-0 down in the series. They're on the red side here, so they didn't have the first pick. They had the Zac taken away from them. They're going to try something, and they have some really exciting champ choices coming out here.
I think a nice choice here as well from X5 to wait to pick Swift as champion last, because obviously Swift are one of the strongest, if not arguably their strongest player, and they're gonna let him counterpick the expected mid lane here. And looks like we might have Swiper play Zac in top lane here as Hecarim gets selected here as well. And this is something we did see actually from, I believe, the one game of Immunities that was streamed during the qualifiers. You've actually mentioned that Alicia takes after a certain Chinese jungler actually in terms of what he likes to pick.
Correct. Whenever he's interviewed, I'm Elysia Intel, the jungler, speaks about a troll, but it looks like we're the ones getting trolled here as the Nunu comes out.
We're going to have AOE. Nunu dropped through the draft in the last game, but they're going to be like, all right, we don't want you to have Kennen. We're going to go Nunu Kennen here. And with Chain of Corruption in there as well, with the Slicing Maelstrom from Kennen and the Elastic Slingshot lets bounce initiation from Zac, that's potentially a lot here. And oh my goodness, Swiffer pulls the trigger on Kassadin.
And Kassadin against Kennen is a very interesting matchup. Very hard for Heavens, very hard to navigate that lane in the early game just because the auto attack trade's coming out and you're a melee champion in Kassadin. But after 6, Kassadin can trade really well there with Kennen. So the mid Kennen's not something we see a lot recently. It is the 3.9 patch, so Kennen's AD has been nerfed, so the damage is going to hit a bit less hard. But actually a pretty good opportunity to break out the Kassadin here.
Yeah, and it seems like X5, you know, down again, back against the wall. They're just picking all their pocket champions that they've wanted to be playing. We've got First Mate on Sinch. We've got DJ Norman on Lee Sin. We're going to get Swift on Kassadin, and I know Zerk is confident in his Caitlyn play. And of course, Paws playing Nami in the last game clearly likes that champion as well. If X5 can't win with this comp, then maybe today Immunity is just a better team. And given that they're the consistent performances at LAN especially, that may just be the case. But Alicia, he's going to go with Nunu. I don't really like Nunu against Lee Sin, but I like what it does for their team, especially that they get to, especially because of the fact they get to supercharge Radier a little bit.
And although Nunu's had those small nerfs, still just massively strong at counter jungling, at invading. He still has that double smite ability. He's just a really strong pick in any comp. And of course, the free attack speed for Radier, their hyper carry, could be very strong.
Yeah, it's good stuff here, and we'll have to see what happens here. It's game 2, of course. Do or die is now in effect for Exile 5 Eclipse. And Immunities are still playing strong, still showing form here on LAN. And I mean, why wouldn't they? They're easily the most experienced team in Australia. They've been to LAN countless times. I guess if we predicted Big Jam from yesterday to be the team that may be most affected by the lights, Immunity they are not worried at all. This is a stage, not only that they're used to, but something they actually probably appreciate.
It's one of those things where usually when it comes to bot lane, you don't observe bot lane unless you see a gank. But with the Rosie Blitzcrank coming out in the bottom lane, your camera can never be too far away from bot.
No, and I mean, one of the things we've seen happen, usually Immunity, a lot of teams that pick against Immunity know the strength of Radier, try and just play safe or out farm. I mean, we saw in the last game, Zerk actually did a really good job playing that Misfortune against Ezreal and actually outlaned him a little bit. I mean, the CS was very even, but nothing bad happened. And Immunity, usually their bottom lane just goes well. It's known for its consistency, and as long as Radier gets farmed, they're happy. The other 2 lanes, their top and mid, are usually where a lot of plays are made. The difference here, though, with a champion like Blitzcrank, Rosie can really shine here. And one of the things that's so intimidating about Immunity is that pretty much every single person on their team can make stuff happen, and First Mate's going to have to get out of here.
Yes, First Mate hightailing it away. Probably not going to see a flash grab here, though. There is the option.
I think they didn't spot him in time. I can almost guarantee Rosie would have if he saw him initially. Rosie, who was previously known as Venom, apologies for that slip. For any of you out there who've been in the Australian scene for a while, you recognize that one. But he loves to be aggressive on his support, and what a better aggressive support than Blitzcrank.
Interesting to see that Kassadin here has anticipated the Doran's Blade start from Kennen in the mid lane here. Kennen, a very safe champion. Even in 1v2 lanes, we've seen him start Doran's Blade. Obviously, it adds to his attack damage, the cloth armor, and mitigates some of that auto attack pressure that he's going to have to take to CS in the early game.
Yeah, and there's potentially, in fact, there was a lot of potential this game for a lane swap, and I've been talking to X5 a little bit. They've said they don't really like doing it. They know they will know. Pause. Pause, you have to be careful. This is a very late invade from Immunity. I hope Swiffer's reflexes are up to it. This is potentially very bad news, Bears. They're going to go in late here. Swiffer may not see it. He's going to get grabbed potentially. I think he's able to flash it though, so he's just being patient. Never mind. We go for the blue buff.
They went for the safer of the two options. They should get the blue buff here. Smite it away. Nice little trick from Immunity.
And if Nunu's counter jungling wasn't irritating enough, adding a Blitzcrank hook in there as well, just absolutely silliness. And now Nunu's going to walk through the mid. They might even fast push here, and we expected a lane swap. This is super aggressive up against this Cassidy.
So they've stolen blue. They're looking at red here too, Pastry Town.
Yeah, and this is really good stuff. This is old school Gambit gaming here. They're going to go in two-man evade support plus jungle. Norman has to be very careful here. Lee Sin going to get grabbed up there. Good moves in there from Inter, but a great escape there from Lee Sin.
Holds on to his flash. A very smart play there, but I haven't seen this sort of invade since Meteos, the jungler from Cloud9, lost both of his buffs at level 1. Fantastic maneuvering and map control from Immunity. How was DJ Norman on Lee Sin here? A level intensive champion. We all talk about how great his level 3 is. He doesn't have it at the moment.
He can actually defend off here in the 2v1. That's both good and bad in different senses. I mean, he could obviously lose more of his jungle, but there's not a whole lot left to take here, so he's just going to try and have to play safe here as Rosie looks for a grab there. Low on mana now, of course, with a biscuit ticking away. They're giving him a little bit extra, so he might have another rocket grab primed and ready, but very aggressive push here from Immunity. I mean, DJ Norman kind of saw what was happening, knew they wanted to 2v1 as Cassidy. Smite used there, it looked like by Nunu, but I could be missing that one there. I mean, the defense is coming up, but they're going to look for the grab. Almost finds it there on Lee Sin.
Just longer than max range was the grab there.
Yeah, and I mean, we expected a lane swap, but it's Immunity who were looking for this one here. Again, I talked to X5. They seem to know that lane swapping against Radier is probably a good idea and try and pressure, you know, their bottom lane in another lane because Radier is just so consistent that it's very scary to actually lane him. What's happening here is, of course, down the bottom lane they're pushing, but Nunu here is just going straight babysitter mode. He's in here in the mid, he's helping with the Blood Bowl, he's pushing through, and this is a really nicely executed first, like, level 1 to 3 here from Immunity.
And what this suggests to me is they're very happy to trade mid turret for bottom turret. 2v1 down bottom, we see Swiper taking free damage here. They're very happy with this trade as it gives Cassidy one less safe place to farm. He can't really rotate to one of the side lanes to pick up farm just because in a long lane Cassidy struggles before 6, but the level 3 Swiffer loses turret.
Yeah, the fast push, they're going to get it done. 4 minutes, and the first turret goes down. Back down the bottom lane, it's about 50% also left on that turret, so Exile 5 probably going to get it here, but I do see some friends sneaking in behind here. Again, the duo's going to roam down the Ignite used in there as well. Zerk in trouble, snowballed there on top of him. That's going to be one. I think Paul's in trouble here as well, and nowhere for Nami to run. First blood out there from Zach, and Nami here going to get rocket grabbed. Alicia picks up the kill.
So I understand on the one hand, not putting out an early ward there. They saw Nunu. Nunu was clearly going to stay in the mid lane. They had vision on him. But the moment that Nunu's rotated, 4 minutes 30 into the game, no wards down by Nami, plenty of wards in inventory. Just, I'd have to say, a mistake there by Paws to have no vision of the two-man gang.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when lane swaps kind of happen, teams forget their general warding patterns, it seems like. And we actually saw that yesterday's game, as soon as Zed just started roaming from his bottom lane and killed everybody. So here it's a little different. Immunity getting a lot of map control here, but it's going to be 2 turrets in about 5 minutes here, as again, the tandem here of Blitzcrank plus Nunu is really doing work.
It's one of those little things where you need that map vision. The moment that you saw Nunu anchored to mid, you're like, okay, I can save some of my wards. I'm feeling fine here. You see the Ghost come up from first mate, trying to close distance.
Flash there from
Does
Heavens.
force the flash, so.
I mean, Lee Sin probably could have found the kick, but he was waiting for Heavens to flash. Heavens kind of found an interesting timing to kind of throw Lee Sin off there a little, I think, and manages to flash out of the way there with no follow-up Q. And I mean, even then, Lee Sin's level 3. I mean, as I said, it's one thing to counter jungle with Nunu. It's another to bring Blitzcrank to the party as well.
I guess what I was meaning to say is it's fine to hold your wards. You know, you only need vision if there's a threat of a gank, but to not have the map vision, to know that mid turret had gone down and that anything was possible, is just a mistake from Paws.
Yeah, and I like the shift in pace here from Immunity. I mean, again, a very experienced team, capable of kind of playing any role. I'm very curious to see who gets this blue buff, by the way. I actually have money on Rosie getting it, but maybe Nunu wants it. Oh, he does smite it off there.
Your money's gone there, Pastry Town.
Damn. It's going to be a very short rest of packs then, it seems like. But no, it does go over to Nunu there. I mean, it would have been sweet, clearly playing Roam Blitzcrank here, just leaving Varus happily in the mid to his own devices. I mean, there's potential chance for ready to get ganked off in the mid. His first mate flips off a minute. And here it comes again. Heavens with the slicing Maelstrom finds the stun. First mate in so much trouble here. There's another stun. The slow in there as well. And goodbye Singed. Heavens picks up the kill.
Just so much map movement here. And again, lack of ward coverage is really, really hurting Exile 5.
Yeah, it is, and I really like the pace here. As I said, Immunity, you know, kind of played a very safe early game, very, very standard. Here, certainly champions we do see, but their strategy is, it's a little cheesy, shall we say.
Absolutely. I mean, it harkens back to the Mad Life roaming Alistair, the Gamba Gaming roaming Alistair, just trying to move one of those CC bots around. And that's why Blitzcrank got into melee range of that golem. He just wanted experience.
Yeah, this is definitely Immunity's best Diamond Proc / Edward impersonation here, and they're doing quite well here. 3 turrets down in 7 minutes here, and Radiant might even 1v1 Swiffer. In fact, one of the really cool things that I just noticed as we pop back in the mid, one of Cassidy's weaknesses, especially pre-6, is actually AD carries. He's going to go in here as well, but Blitzcrank around the side. Radiant could get it off. He doesn't have his ultimate, but there's a good flash from Swiffer. He's trying to get up and a flash over the top for Radiant. One so can make it here. Riftwalk, I think he has enough for one, and there he goes over the top. Swiffer, though, very low on mana. We're not going to see the chase, interestingly enough, as Lee Sin says high in the mid lane here. Norman still down a level here. Looks like they're going to move towards the blue buff, and this is really smart timing again from IM.
And taking away both buffs and then being that roaming gank squad, it's just masterstroke here because Lee Sin has had literally no impact on this game and is level 4 at the 8-minute mark.
And I did say that I really like Lee Sin against Nunu. I guess what I don't like is when this happens. I mean, Nunu, known for being a counter jungler, one of the reasons Lee Sin is so good against him is that Nunu fights you and annoys you in your jungle by snowballing you. Lee Sin's very ability-based, especially in the early levels. So he's able to duel Nunu quite effectively and actually threaten him in his own jungle. With the way I have played this, though, it's really, really hard for Lee Sin to get going. And I don't know if they expected this from X5, but Immunity, at least in the early set of this game, have completely outdrafted X5.
It's one of these things where it's easy to say that they've made some mistakes, but it's just really high-level League of Legends. Just because one team has Nunu and Blitzcrank doesn't mean that both your buffs are going to be invaded, and trades will be taking advantage of that. It's just a case here that Immunity are really showing the style. They've practiced something a little bit different, and they're executing it fantastically.
We're going to get a very fast dragon here as well. Another thing that Nunu is very good at. You can see Alicia level 6 now as Norman's trying to do some fun here and get stuff going. I mean, X5, I think they had a ward here, got cleared up by the pink. They probably know what's going on, but there's no way they want to fight at this point. And Heavens is still running a split push, and this is one of the nice things here. Singed, I mean, I said they got outdrafted. Cannon against Singed, nice matchup there. But they completely predicted Lee Sin and predicted Cassidy and played perfectly against it with what they picked.
And Cannon is dominating this matchup, 70 to 33 CS, although with a lot of pressure from Blitzcrank and Nunu earlier, and is building for team fights rather than building for the lane. This needlessly large rod probably going to turn into a Zonia just for team fight control, and the Doran's Blade is enough to really take advantage of Singe's difficulty in dealing with ranged auto attackers.
Yeah. And really going to accelerate their mid game here as well. I mean, you know, we normally think about 20 minutes for an AoE sort of champion to get things going, and there's a mini AoE sub-theme here for Immunity. I mean, Cannon at this point with all that farm may even have like a 15-minute Zonias, or if he goes really aggressive, maybe a death cap. Singed forced back yet again here, and yeah, this matchup is not good for first mate, unfortunately. And as much as X5 wanted to pull out their champions here, they're going to have to really, really dig in and try and get something done here, because they're 6,000 gold behind at under 10 minutes.
And he's gone the tier here for potentially a late game Seraphs or just a late, you know, obviously it's a nice item on Singed. He double scales on it because he gets health from his mana pool. But it takes so much charge up time, and this game could be over before that is maybe even half full.
Yeah, Super trying to get in aggressively here, doing damage. Norman coming through in there as well. He's level 6 now. Doesn't quite want to go in there. Radiant's ultimate up as well. So potentially could activate that one for a little bit of anti-initiation. As Swiffer goes into the mid, they're just poking there. Nunu pretty low on mana, but of course his Visionary passive will give him a couple of free spells every few autos. But I mean, right now Immunity, we kind of noted the X5 wanted to play the split push style. This is all split push right now for Immunity. They've got people in all 3 lanes pushing in tier 2s.
And all they really need is an Oracle to complete the kind of route here. They've gone for the side stone, but exclusive vision with their roaming gank squad would be just the complete cherry on the pie they've got going here.
I mean, Oracles will be great. I have a funny feeling Rosie is quite poor on Blitzcrank, but I mean, he's got a side stone, he's got an extra ward. Actually, Alicia is going to go for the aggressive Oracles here. Well played, Papa Smithy.
It just makes sense. I mean, they got the pickoffs just because of the lax warding from XL5. You have to expect they'd react to that with just putting out more wards after getting caught in basically every lane. Now the Oracle's just to ensure everything.
Yeah, and things looking really nice here for Immunity. Have a staggering lead here early on in this game, and Exile 5, they could possibly get it done still here with their comp, but they really have to just stay safe, ward up where they can. I mean, that Oracles, as you know, are going to make that very difficult here. This is an aggressive Oracles. You know, we think maybe 15 minutes feels kind of fast these days, when 20 minutes feels like the part-time. 10, 11 minutes is just silliness here. I mean, Immunity, they're sticking to the plan. They're just staying in their lanes. They're happy with their matchups. They're happy with their map control. 1 top, 3 mid, 1 bot.
And DJ Norman here, he's hit level 7. It's a very healthy level. But I mean, he's just really farming his jungle. 0-0-0, not been involved in a kill or even a skirmish. I mean, Lee Sin to be irrelevant in the early game bodes very badly for their late game.
It doesn't. Lee Sin is one of those interesting champions that he's not bad in a team fight. He kind of turns into a support almost with some initiation potential in there as well. Of course, you've all seen the insect level highlight videos, so you know what Lee Sin can do. But in the early game, he really wants to put pressure on and gank aggressively and can get in the jungler's face. He's a really strong duelist. In fact, he may go in for Rady here, but it's very scary. Blitzcrank with the insta silence could make things bad. And then, of course, there's a whole freight train of CC that follows up in there as well. And Immunity, this X5 are trying, but Immunity just keep pushing.
And keeping the 3-man group in mid is fantastic for me, just because Cassidy scales very strong on levels. Both his Q and his E scale in the same manner. They scale a lot of damage per level. They have the same ratio.
So they're going to go in there. Swift, and Norman tries to get it, but he gets knocked up there. Rady kicked out the tidal wave in there as well. Absolute zero activated there as Swift has forced a flash out of that. Chain of corruption in there. Rady there takes too much damage. But Rosie picks up Swiffer there, and Caitlin's going to pick up Varus.
Grab to the grave there, pastry time.
Just there, and Heavens are going deep. Looking for the tower now. Norman very low, doesn't get it, and a little bit of misplay there from Heavens. He's going to die to the tower, and that was much needed there. As first mate's going to chase in. He's got Ghost on, he's got his ult taken back. Goodbye, Oracles. At least for now.
And they really needed those pickoffs, pastry time.
They did, and the gold's still not looking great for them with all those towers and the dragon that's gone down. But, you know, 3 kills is nice. So going to get grabbed up, though, and that cleanse, unfortunately, not going to get you out of that one.
Nice little trick. They were hiding around the corner. No vision there for Caitlyn, and an instant rocket grab.
I'm just looking through the items now. X5 picking up a little bit more. Looks like a quick Infinity Edge is the order of the day for Zerk. He's got Pickaxe plus BF Sword. We've got Rotovators on the way there for Cassidy. Lee Sin, unfortunately, is very poor and just has like kind of the base items he needs. I like the magics here. I've actually seen a lot of Dawn's Blades, curiously enough, from Lee Sin these days, but Norman kind of knows he was behind. I believe he started with the Hunter's Machete and probably was going to build Magics anyway, but he really needs it to farm his jungle quickly and get some levels after that counter jungle.
And when you see a Lee Sin on the enemy team, you assume you're going to have a vision disadvantage. Lee Sins love to pick up that sight stone, have a bit more mobility, but also have the ability to put down some wards for map vision here. We have the Ruby sight stone already completed at 40 minutes for Blitzcrank here, who's been roaming. Now Nunu also has a sight stone. The map vision here from Unity at this early point is going to be astronomical. Yeah,
and this mid tower here, the tier 2, very, very low as the pushing continues. He can return to the top lane. He has Rabadons and Blue buff, by the way. If you want to get an idea of how little Immunity care about their own jungle, because Nunu's been doing a lot of laning and a lot of pushing this game. Blue buff was up for, I think, 4 minutes or so before Heavens went to pick it up. And to be fair, their team doesn't really need it. The Swiffer here going to come in there. That's a good initiation. Eclipse in there as well. Absolute zero activated there. Raider's going to try and make it happen. It's so low. The tidal wave is almost going to pick him up there as Zerk picks up that kill. Raider though with Chain of Corruption. Norman needs a kick. He finds one, but Swiper in the top that's going to go. There's a kill for Lee Sin though out onto Varus. Let's Bounce is being channeled in there as well. And Swiffer a little low on mana. They might chase in here. X5, if Dragon is coming back up as well, are going to be able to pick that one up. And that was a nice little trade, but unfortunately Cannon is still up in the top lane pushing.
Absolutely, and they need to turn an objective here. They're not even going for the dragon here. They should be able to secure 2 kills for a turret. It's about even in terms of gold.
Yeah, it really is, and Heavens should be able to get this one here. First mate's rotating back up, so maybe not, but the mini wave's coming in. It's not going to take too many more autos here, and Rosie's actually looking for blood here. Swiffer, they're going to find him out. Swiper in there as well on the Zac just to slow him out. And there's the ultimate going to come in, but a good block in there. Denied.
Heavens up top. I mean, this Death Cat build, not something you usually see. It's so aggressive. Not worried about being focused in a team fight. Not worried about needing to Zhonya's at all. Just going for damage. Oh,
there comes the glue out from Cinti. Flips him back towards the turret. The ultimate activated there. The turret goes down in there as well. Good stuns there coming over the Slashing Maelstrom. But the Q there still for Lee Sin. He turns around and the damage is out. The Ignite is out on Lee Sin as well. Lee Sin knows he was dead if he kept in there, and Cinch did not like his chances there against Kennen. So despite no Zhonya's, Heavens just completely happily with the 1v2 there.
And Immunity may be surprised to see the Dragon still up. Take it down and grow this gold lead. 6.3k already at the 16-minute mark.
And that is bad times for Exile 5 fans. as Sufa's going to recall here. I think he's got his rower finish. We'll have to see. There it is. A decent part-time there on that one, but and given that Kassadin's lane went fairly horribly, he's actually picked up a nice chunk of CS here, although kind of depending on how you want to compare it, he is stupidly far behind Cannon. Heavens has silly amounts of farm right now. He is flame level Cannon.
Absolutely. As a ranged carry who had gotten that early gank on Singed, he had no worries in the top lane. He was free to CS as much as he wanted. Very, very healthy CS at 145. And his opponent Singed now really only piecemealing together Rylei's Crystal Scepter.
Yeah, and looks like Immunity going to move in here. They could go a bit more aggressive. I like the Giants build here from Heavens, actually. I think he's going to be building a Rylei's as he does a little bit of the ruffle there. Oh, apparently just hanging out. I mean, Immunity here clearly grouping for a push. Heavens just having a little bit of fun as they go in. And, I mean, I know a lot of players like to do that sort of stuff, but I think it really shows Immunity's confidence here in this spot. And right now at 17 minutes with the gold lead they have, why wouldn't you be?
And Immunity are kind of free to do whatever they want here. They have a lot of completed items on their carries compared to a piecemeal, Giant Spell Amp Tome on Singed. Caitlyn's still waiting for an Infinity Edge. I mean, only the Rod of Ages is really a core pickup here. Yeah,
a minion there gets grabbed, so Rosie delivers that to himself. He's going to pick up that gold there. Unfortunately, missing out on any of the members that are hanging out, but standing in the ever-popular Blitzkrieg grab spot here in the mid. But of course, that is being warded up as well by X5, so fully aware of what could happen there. Heavens again continuing with, I mean, that's, by the way, one of my favorite laugh animations in the game. But they're going to move in for this tier 2 now. It's going to go down, and X5 have to back off. They don't want to walk into Cannon. Zerk gets grabbed out there as well. Slicing Maelstrom in the mix, and that's really bad news here for X5. Absolute zero channel, but a good interrupt there for Aqua Prison. But Let's Bounce is going to happen. First Met's going to flop him out of the way, but it's not enough there as Radiant picks up that kill. And Swiffer went in there trying to do damage, but 3 clean kills for 0. Bad news there as the stun comes out onto Kassadin, and they don't even care about extra kills. They're going to pick up this inhibitor turret, and probably the inhibitor as well.
Fantastic play. The flash grab there. Very, very flashy play from Rosie, but on the AD carry. The linchpin of the X5 damage output.
And Swiffer trying to make something happen. Ebb and Flow there from Nama, keep him alive for a little bit longer. But Immunity get what they came for after those 3 kills. Inhibitor down at 18 minutes. Flash is traded there as everybody gets out okay. I mean, Swiffer's he picks up Heavens.
Burn damage there is good, but it almost feels like a consolation prize after losing that inhibitor.
Yeah, it really does, and this is bad times. We're almost 10,000 gold ahead for Immunity right now in this game. 6-0 in turrets, obviously the biggest metric. They're down 2 dragons, I believe, as well. I mean, X5, they're a good team. They're capable of pulling this out. I don't think I ever want to say that a team can't make a comeback after what happened yesterday, but at this point, Immunity, they're a team that's consistent, very strong, and when they have a lead like this, they very rarely, if ever, throw it away.
A lot of recent purchases here. For example, the Bloodthirst on Varus. He's had that completed for a long time now. It's at max stacks. Caitlyn's still working on her Infinity Edge. This game could be over before she completes it. A lot of early pickups here to build a lot of early game damage and control, and not really worrying about a late game. The double Sightstone, for example, just to ensure they could get those Blitzcrank pulls and have that vision advantage early. They feel really happy with this start, and they knew they could snowball it with those early game items.
Yeah, and they really have, haven't they? You can see Cannon now almost finished up his Rylai's. He's got all the components, just needs the item itself to finish that one off, so it's very close, if not there already. And I mean, it's going to be just academic from here. Immunity going to try and push up the turrets. They don't want to risk something like Baron. Lee Sin's barrel steal potential is very high, although Nunu obviously very good at doing neutral buffs himself. But I mean, they know they're in a good spot to just have map control and push here. First Met's teleport is up, but I mean, towers are just falling left, right, and center here. The mid's going to push in. You can see Caitlyn there trying to get those minions out of the way, and this is a really tough spot to be in. I mean,
and such an early inhibitor that Caitlyn by herself, a ranged AD carry, can't really clear the waves very fast at all.
Oceanic Corruption does hit onto Swiffer. They're going to go in there. Norman tries to save him. A Swiper in there, and a good tidal wave in there as well. Absolute Zero going to come through. Lee Sin gets popped there as Varus going to clean up that kill. Swiper very low. Should have his passive up here. And Swiffer doesn't even kill him for that one. First wave they're coming in. Cannon activates his ultimate. That Slicing Maelstrom comes through. There's the grab on the Zerk there as Caitlyn's going to get it. Heaven's unfortunately going to go down there. Not quite tanking enough. Radiant going to die as well as they play cleanup. And Alicia should go down to a Null Sphere as well. So not the best trade there as X5 pick up a 3 for 2.
Yeah, very greedy play and a great pickup there as we see the super minions pushing onto the Nexus turrets here. And I guess the issue that X5 have is they need to force these fights quickly because it takes more than one member. It's not just Caitlyn who can take down these super creeps. They need 2 or 3 members in mid at this early stage.
Yeah, when we talk about split pushing, it's almost like the minions are split pushing for Immunity at this point with that early inhibitor down. And it was so early, you know, before around the 18.5-minute mark that Super Minions are very, very strong, and X5 are struggling to keep them out of their base. We've got Infinity Edge finished up now for Caitlyn, so that's good news here. But other than that, the items still coming out on Immunity, and that was definitely very greedy by them. But I hate to say it, they can afford to be greedy in this spot.
And now they have the Oracles. They're going to look to Baron here, the last big objective left on the map. Difficult to see how they'll be able to control this mid wave and contest Baron for Exile 5.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things. When the inhibitor pushes in, you basically get vision of their base as the Super Minions push through. There's actually a ward in the
Caitlyn
back.
just shocked basic time.
That's not a good timing here. And this Baron's going to go down reasonably quickly here. Barrett's got decent damage coming out here, almost with the PD plus the BT. I mean, Swift is going to come through. DJ Norman's going to maybe try and steal it off, but Immunity, I think they're going to dedicate to finishing his Baron. A grab in there, a pause finds him out. First man going in his own, Norman going in. He doesn't get the Baron though, and it's going to be Carnage as they rip through. Oceanic Corruption comes in. Pause forced to flash up there. Swiper cleaning up as well. Absolute zero on top of them all. I mean, Caitlyn's out the back, finally in here trying to do it. Rated did die, but the rest of the team could play clean up a kill there as that gets a triple as Cassidy slays Blitzcrank. But Swiffer, he's going to play Janitor. There's the triple. He might get the quadra. There's one. Denied the Penta by Zerg. No,
Nope.
He got it. Pentakill!
Fantastic mechanics from Swiffer there. Gets him a big chunk of gold. He's going to have a big item. He finishes the Zonya's Hourglass when he comes back. They need more fights like that at pastry time.
They do, and if there is a comeback here for Exile 5, it lies in this man's hand right here. Swiffer needs to play out of his mind in this game to make it happen, and a Pentakill certainly a nice start here. Cassidy, a deadly hyper AP carry in the late game, and Swiffer certainly a player to pilot here as well. Immunity still comfortably ahead here in this game. No turrets still on the board right now for X5 Eclipse, but if they make it go long, they could do it here.
And let's take back a look at how many resources Immunity have done this game to try and keep this Cassidy down. They 2v1'd in mid, which is traditionally a terrible matchup for Cassidy. He really struggles against those ranged AD champions. They picked this Nunu Blitzcrank and really completely made DJ Norman on this Lee Sin a non-factor. Cassidy always loves those strong junglers because it gives him some lane presence. It gives him some lane pressure that he wouldn't have himself. So Lee Sin coming in with a quick level 3, very powerful to help Cassidy baby him through the early stages. But DJ Norman was a non-factor till about level 7 or 8 here. And after all of this, that Pentakill kind of undoes a lot of the hard work into keeping Swiffer down this game.
It really does. A lot of extra experience picked up on pretty much all the members of X5 there. Lee Sin now level 11, which is actually equal with Nunu, which if you saw the early game, you probably wouldn't think be happening. The middle inhibitor has respawned now as well for X5, and they're going to go in to try and pick this one up now. And I mean, X5, they might be feeling it. They could maybe get a fight on, but they've got to be very, very careful. Swiffer, there we go. He's going to go inside this for the bait. They're going to go through the tidal wave in the top. DJ Norman gets on top, and Heaven's Curse is his ultimate. Swiffer now legendary as they assassinate Radiant. The Cassidy is down. He flashes. No, he's still dead. And Heaven's with the double, but Zerg fighting it out. Swiper getting in. He's flipped back in there, and that's going to be 4 for 2. Maybe not a Swiper goes over the top there with Slingshot. Ace in the hole, not up, unfortunately, for Caitlyn for the snipe. But beautiful play there from X5, and the two superstars there get it done there as Swiffer and Norman go huge in that team fight.
And the early item pickups, the Sightstone especially, are hurting Immunity at this point. The Runic Bulwark's being worked on here by Nunu. It should have realistically been completed, what, 5 minutes ago? If he had used his gold differently. They don't have that item with Cassidy this massive. And the Death Cap rush from Kennen is super, super greedy. It's all about getting into a fight and not worrying about your own safety. Just going to blow them up. He's getting punished for it. Now he's finally got the Seeker's Arm Guard here, but the Zonias is a long way away. I think X5 will comfortably win fights at this point, barring Swiffer getting caught, but he's got the Zonias. He does have the stasis to counter any sort of positioning errors.
And you saw, I mean, that wasn't even positioning error. That was a full-on bait there by Swiffer in the last fight on Cassidy, and that was incredible. Here's Rosie going to find pause. That's bad news for Nami. Stun going to come out there. Snowball in there for Alicia as well. He flashes forward, and there's a snowball for Radiant.
They're just too far pushed. Maybe not consulting the death time as their pause unfortunately caught out. They're going to try their best to defend this inhibitor, but are they in position to do so?
All right, we'll see X5 Eclipse. Can they do it again? They did it last time, but now it's a little bit trickier. 4v5 is it going to have to be, and I think they're just going to give it up here, and that's a smart choice. Tidal Wave was crucial to the last fight they just won. Oh, Swiffer going to poke in there, try and get maybe some exit kills, but basically just a noise swiper there as he backs off out of the base.
So now XL5 kind of have to reset. They kind of have to play passively once again and wait out this inhibitor turret. But they've shown that they can win 5v5 skirmishes. So they still have that thing, but now they have the added headache of having to deal with this mid lane push.
Yep, so if the push from Immunity wasn't enough before, if the pressure on Baron they had before wasn't, you know, too much to deal with here, and not to mention the gold lead and of course all the turrets that are down, X5 now have to deal with the mid lane basically perma pushing in there, and of course they're going to have to stay grouped here. There's not a whole lot X5 can do if they're not all together, but it's likely that the inhibitor is going to force them to split up.
Yeah, and we see an attempted bait there coming from Immunity. I mean, Exile, they just need to fight. That's the long and short of it. They can't afford to get pressured or get split because they don't necessarily have the resource to deal with that, but they're winning fights. They have a massive Kassadin, so that's their trump card here.
Yeah, they certainly have the ways to win fights, but they don't have time, really. As you said, they've got to start them quickly. I mean, maybe they just defensively waited out here. Immunity looks like they're going to go back up towards, maybe push out the top lane here, as I can see Heavens looking towards that farm there. He pings that one out. I mean, they're grouping in the mid lane now. Maybe just want to meet the wave here, try and push it out, clear out a couple of wards that are getting there and get their wards back up, because the map's kind of bare, apart from a couple that they put in the top of the base and the right side of the map there as well. Probably got some gold to spend in there as well after the last little fight, or the farm they're getting here in the lane, but X5, they're really happy just getting some space here.
So the Runic Bulwark is finally completed on Nunu here, which of course does bring Kassadin's damage down a notch. He's working on a Void Staff, no doubt, with this blasting one, about 700 gold away. They probably don't want to fight until he has that item completed. No, and he's going to try and finish that one out nice and quickly. We see the other items coming out here. Singed with a Rylai's and a Blaster one there as well. So going to go for the reasonably standard mid-late game-ish build with Rylai's plus Seraph's Embrace, we have to guess here. In fact, he'll probably get the Archangels as soon as he can. Help charge that up a little bit faster. We've got, again, Lee Sin, very poor, but of course, Norman Stone, he can still make plays with Lee Sin there. He's got Sightstone. He's working on his Bulwark there. He's got an Aegis and a Needle Tubby plus a Magus in there as well. I have to say, Zerk is actually looking pretty comfortable right now. He's got Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, and the Last Whisper. So, I mean, they do need consistent damage. They can't just have Swiffer get in there and be the damage dealer. And it's almost amazing to me. I finally look at the scores here. Exile 5 are winning in kills after that really early game. Huge momentum that Immunity had. But the turret lead is disgusting pastry time.
It really is. Still no turrets on the board here. We saw a little bit earlier that probably the two weakest pushes potentially on X5. Pause and First Mate were teaming up to try and take the mid turret down with a little bit of space they got. It's about 50% health right now. The rest of Immunity's turrets probably close to full health, if not at full health. And Immunity still have control here with the inhibitor down. It'll be down for a few more minutes now as well. I have to say, though, they're getting a lot of space here. Maybe Immunity are waiting for the next Baron buff. That could be the big thing they want, but they kind of have to go now. I don't know. Do you think they need to force the issue now, or are they comfortable in this spot?
I think if they can get the vision advantage, I mean, Blitzcrank and the amount of pressure you can bring around Baron, there's a lot of crevices you can hide and get that rocket grab out. I think they're comfortable doing that, but they're kind of wary of fighting, and Baron just spawns right now. We'll get a quick answer, I'm sure.
It's curious to me that I don't think I saw an Oracles on Immunity going through their team there. And if they're going to be doing the vision and clearing it out, especially if they want to go for Baron, I mean, they've got two pink ones there apparently you can see, so that's nice for them, but they're really going to want to try and clear out some of the vision and get that done. But right now, you know, just walking through a couple of wards, Exile doing a good job setting up defensive wards in their own jungle and just casually moving between bot and mid to defend off their base. So that's working out nicely. You can see Venom immediately goes into action there, wants Norman, but he's going to get off there towards the minion as he safeguards out. And thankfully, Lee Sin will once again escape away.
Seraph's Embrace is actually just transformed from Sin.
Uh-oh, Swiper comes in there onto Swiffer. That's bad news. Kassadin needs to get out of there. The Ace in the hole actually getting channeled there. Just a little bit of poke coming out. I guess Caitlyn realizes, oh, that's bad news. Swiffer, though, Rift walks out of the way before he can get silenced. And Kassadin's still alive, Papa Smithy. And as we know, he is a very valuable asset to X5 Eclipse.
I was just about to point out, though, a full AP damage build coming out from Singed here. No real tanky stats barring the health and magic resist from the Merc threats.
I mean, if the long-range Caitlyn and the mobile Kassadin are the two major damage dealers, they're probably going to ignore you for the most part. I mean, if you can just run in and get to the back line, that's good here. Norman actually going to get grabbed up, knocked up over the wall there, but X5, they're going to have issues trying to steal this one out. Firstman actually teleporting there, and they want to go for it. They're going to try and get the Baron. Do they get it? He steals the Baron. They're going to come in there as well. The tidal wave's already been used off. Zerk doing damage where he can. Alicia with the absolute zero. Swiffer is so low and he's in stasis. He flashes, but he can't quite get out. And now Immunity are going to try and play cleanup here. A great stealer was there from Norman, but Immunity still able to play cleanup. Guardian Angel not even needed there for Radier. And this is bad news bears for X5 fans. Swiper going to go in there as well. Zerk now down as well. And Paws the only one left here. Alicia's dead, but that's about it here. And that's going to be an ace, I think.
Paws trying to buy as much time as possible here because 15 seconds is the respawn timer from Lee Sin. I don't think they have enough to take down the Nexus here, but Very nice team play for Immunity.
Yet they'll get their mid inhibitor back that they took once before. They may get the bot there as well. You can see the blue pings there on the map coming out. They want to try and clean those out there. I mean, X5, they seem to be doing all the right things to come back there, but that one little team fight at Baron, I mean, that's the gold disparity, right? You can see it was probably 6,000, 7,000 before. It's 8,000 now, and probably a little bit more as they move through and take out some more objectives. Double inhibitors now taken out as well, as both mid and bot are gone. Norman looking for it. He wants to go in, looking very aggressive. He goes on the blitzkrieg, he gets knocked up there, but he gets the slow off. He may be able to chase in there. He's very low on energy, and Rosie's going to buy time. There's Swiffer coming in to clean up that kill.
And that fight at Baron, you know, after the Barons, it was almost incredible because if you saw, Immunity used everything on Chief Swiffer there. Even when he was in stasis, even when he went on, they used 3-4 members DPSing him down, and Zerk was free hitting at the back. It was awkward positioning because of where he was standing. It was a bit, he didn't have any tanks in front of him, so he was a bit exposed, but he was free hitting. They were just that concerned about DPSing the Cassian down that they were happy to have Caitlyn with Infinity Edge. I believe at the time, Zeal and Last Whisper free hit them.
And as we mentioned earlier as well, that's also damage build singed. I mean, X5 had all the damage in there and everybody wanted to kill Swiffer on the IM side. And I mean, they got him in the end and it proved to work there despite the Baron steal. X5 not able to win that last team fight. And again, they find themselves in a bit of an awkward spot here. The goal difference not too bad right now. It's about 6,000 or so between these two teams. But Immunity with the double inhibitors down, they're going to put a lot of pressure on this map.
And despite the Chief Swiffer show basically time, Immunity keep rolling forward.
They really do. And X5, they're trying here. They have to win this game if they want to even it up. And, I mean, this game could turn up being pretty epic. We had an epic game 2 already yesterday, if you did join us there for that one. And this one potentially shaping up to be the same here. And if X5 could do it against a team like Immunity, Swiffer going aggressive here actually wants to do the damage. Does a lot now as well as finished up his Rabbit on. And that's very key. He comes to ace in the hole. Great shot is there from Swiffer. He's dodging the absolute zero as well. Rift walks out of the way. That's a kill there as Heaven's coming through. But his ult's going to come in now as well. He kicks the cannon out. Swiper in the back as well, but Let's Bounce trying to do the damage on Swiffer again. The target, but the rest of IM not there. Heavens activates his Zhonya's now, but X5 still kiting. Heavens in the back, they're going to get picked up. And amazing Zhonya's there again.
He's doing his best here, Swiffer. He buys them some more time. They can go back, they can clear waves, maybe get one inhibitor back, while Immunity just can't pressure. And I guess the next Baron is probably the turning point for this game.
And you know when I remember saying that, Papa Smithy?
What's that?
Yesterday. About 5 times.
It's true. I mean, Hot Soggy Decimate proved that even with 2 inhibitors down, you can reclaim a game. If you have a hyper carry, if you know how to pull out to the gate game, if you have good calls, and if the key members of your team don't die. And Chief Swiffer, he's showing some amazing moves here, some swagger almost with those Zhonya baits. He's on form today. He's on the big stage, basically.
Yeah, and back against the wall here. X5 really have to pull it out, and boy, are they doing a good job of this game. If you'd seen the first 10, 15 minutes of this game, and of course I know you all did, you would have written off X5 at that point in the game, and I would not have blamed you, but they have played to 34 minutes now, and it's still going. The gold lead is closing now between these two teams, and of course, as the farm gets more and more even, as everyone collects more gold, that gold difference matters less and less as time ticks on. And Immunity, I think they are going to wait up for the next Baron, and they have to be thinking, what do we have to do to beat these guys?
And the game changed just on a piece of individual skill, just on that decision to Rift walk in there and use that Zhonya's, the Zhonya's that had been picked up, really changed the pressure of this game. They've really looked good since then. And Immunity afraid of team fights. They've gone for early game items, but they finally, the game's pulled on a bit. They have that Runic Bulwark. Yeah, and now Cassidy went for the Death Cap. He doesn't quite have the Void Staff. Big jump in power incoming.
He's got a Blasting Wand, and as you said, that Void Staff will come out surely as the next item here, and that's going to be even more damage coming out for Swiffer here. And he's doing a pretty good job of damaging people right now. Can't imagine it gets much better for Immunity, and they are obviously very scared of him. And you're right in that they built a lot of early game items. The way they played this game was very much about pressure, about pushing, and they've done the pushing part, but now they have to do the part they didn't want to have to do in this game. They've forced a team fight X5 almost.
Yeah, I imagine they had no idea the game would go this long. They thought this was going to be a 20-minute surrender. They were going to run over the top of them. And just that quick momentum shift, that pentakill, changed the complete complexion of the game.
Immunity, though, spot 2 members down the bottom. First mate's teleport is back up. We can come back to that tower. That's smart to send him to the bottom lane as a result of that. And Cassidy's very mobile as well. So I think they have the damage to clear out the waves now. But Immunity obviously trying to pressure this top inhibitor turret here and get the last inhibitor down. Really get the push pressure going. But X5, they've shown they can defend here. First mate going back and forth between the two. Again, another nice poke hold here. And it may look weird for Caitlyn to do that, but I really like that from Zerk. It's basically guaranteed damage on someone, and that makes Swiffer's job that much easier when they get into fight.
And just focusing on anyone who doesn't have any sustain mechanics. Obviously, Radio will be able to use that Blitzcrank to heal up. So you'd be able to use that lifesteal, sorry, to heal up. The Blitzcrank, no lifesteal available.
Blitzcrank as a heal now? That sounds
Not
really
quite.
OP.
That would probably push him a little bit over the
We
top.
should call Feral Pony. I think he has something to say about that. We are going to see Immunity, of course, continue to siege up this top turret now as well. You see the Caitlyn traps by Zerk. They're being put down there towards that. I mean, I think if there's one thing Zach doesn't really like, it's potentially initiating on top of a Caitlyn trap. But this inhibitor is back up. I am going to try and crunch it down. Swiffer gets in there again. Both inhibitors back now as well. They were taken very quickly in succession there the last time I am pushed in, but they're all back now. If X5 can defend now, they may reset the game to a point where they're happy with them. Swiffer going to go in yet again. Immunity don't want to overcommit here as the tidal wave is going to come in. Norman gets the kick off there, finds well, but Swiper's going in the back. The Let's Bounce gets moved off there. Zerk doing the damage as he can as he all walks backward, but Immunity really want to go in there. Good grab on the Zerk with the damage coming through. Swiffer in the back trying to assassinate Heavens as he silences him up, and a good kick there from Lee Sin. First mate in for the damage. Absolute zero, they cancelled off. Great on this there as well from Swiffer, and X5 are still in this one. 2 for 1 right now. Zach going to go down here. Swiffer fighting Radier though, and that's really hard for Cassidy. He's low. He gets sniped up by Radier.
The snipe was unbelievable. He would have gone down there, but it's just too much aggression. Rift walking on top of a Cassidy.
Yeah, that GA there from Radier would have saved him from a very close pilt over Peacemaker, but it was not to be that time around. They're still chasing, actually. They really want the GA. I don't blame them. It's 190 caliber net away from Zerk, but he's so low on mana. I don't even think he got that. Rosie coming in to defend as well. I mean, X5, I think they really wanted to kill Radier there and maybe get something else out of it. But as I said, they won that last team fight. The game resets here. Swiffer giving his gold up is a little awkward, but, you know, they're happy with the game is now. The inhibitors are back up. The super minions are going to be gone soon enough. And X5 are going to be finally in a spot in this game where they can think, okay, we can fight fairly maybe.
The question is, can they clear these super minion waves? Another one coming in here and contest Baron. At this point, I'm unfortunately going to say probably not.
Yeah, it looks like the blue pings did come out. They're onto Baron for immunity, so they know they want that. And really nice timing there in that one. Don't know if that's just coincidence, but you know, they've obviously had the timings. They would have worked out that that's what's happening here. And I think you're right, this Baron likely uncontested. Raider going to start it up. Plenty of damage from him now. GA plus triple damage items already out. And with Nunu here as well for them, I don't think Baron's going to be contested. And look, X5, even if they did have vision, I don't think they would want to leave their base.
Absolutely, there was almost suicide. I mean, to try and contest the Baron here, they weren't in a position to. They're pushing their waves out. They still fancy their team fight. They've won consistently here in terms of team fights. But the GA from Radier is still up after not being able to take him down last fight.
And that could prove to be a really key factor in this next team fight. The Baron buff as well, going to make it even harder here. Maybe this is where Immunity feel confident in their fight. And here we go again. If X5 can defend what they did last time, if they can defend against Baron right now, that would be quite the trick. And they're going to just have to do that right here if they want to stay in this game. Good GA pickup here from Zerk as well. I really like that. Again, the ace and the whole poke is coming through. At least you're going to tank that one up. He's doing pretty healthy right now. I'm not too unhappy to take that. But
Baron buff health regen also going to quickly regen.
It's pretty good. Swiffer again going in there trying to be aggressive. Norman covering him in there as well. Alicia chunked down very low there. Rosie looks for yet another grab but can't quite find it. And Swiffer there's going to poke them off. And one of the nice things about Cassidy in a team fight, he can just throw out force pulse after force pulse and really just kind of blue Ezreal you almost by slowing you down, coming up in, kiting back and forth with Rift Walk, throwing out burst damage. And in fact, I really like that comparison. Kassadin to me feels very similar for power reasons and the same reason Blue Ezreal is. The difference, Kassadin probably does more damage in terms of pure AP.
And also is a melee champion, so there's a little bit of inherent risk there. But I see the comparison here. I guess one of the issues, Kassadin being denied blue buffs here. Those long range fights, those long fights that Kassadin can actually be really powerful in. Just losing a bit of power in those.
And I'm a little surprised not to see Home Guard picked up by Swiffer, but he has finished Void Stuff. He's going to chunk Heaven so low here. He's going to go in. DJ Norman's going to try and save him off. He's going to sacrifice Zod as he does at the last minute, but Evan's curse is going to go in. Swiffer gets killed there, and they cannot be good news here for X5. First man in and amongst it, doing a lot of damage. Norman going through in there as well. Zerk, remember, also with the damage is trying to poke them off. And a 1-for-0 trade, not what X5 would have wanted, but Immunity really could have gotten a lot more there.
And it's the walls, Pastry Time. The walls have spelled the death time and time again for Exile 5. They'll pick up one inhibitor here, probably two. They've lost their hyper carry in Kassadin, and the pressure wall goes back to Immunity.
And 40 seconds is a long, long time. DJ Norman getting a little bit spicy there. Just W's out there with the safeguard. I mean, bottom inhibitor is down. They're going to pressure this mid one as well. 28 seconds now on Swiffer. And they don't have too many ultimates left. The mid inhibitor is going to go down once again. And they're actually just going to ping to go face tank top. Looks like they don't like the call too much there. They did ping onto it. First mate here is going to fling the back attack. Actually cost them a kill there. First mate going in as well. Heaven's going to come in through, and that's a bad news there for Singed. Again, going for more of the damage build instead of tanky. Has very little magic resist to speak of. Pause forced to flash out there as well. Raider actually going to get initiated on Norman. Maybe didn't want to press that again. But Swiffer's back here. Maybe they're going to try and bait it through. He is running back down now. And if anyone can pick up exit kills, it's Kassadin. But X5, again, same spot once more. Mid and bot inhibitors both down.
And that's the danger of trying to buy time for Swiffer to come back in the game. Try and clean up those kills as Kassadin. Is that, I mean, Singed was focused down and killed very quickly. He does have the Thorn Mail down. He does have the cost-effective magic resist with the Megatron Cloak, but he does not live to 5-man concentrated fire.
No, and items coming out now again for immunity. A BF sword picked up extra there for Varus. They're going to come in and try and do whatever else they can. X5 forced to defend in their base once more here. And we've seen they're so good at picking decisive fights at points where the minion waves aren't pressuring them too much. So if they can do that again, if they can show the same great decision-making and initiative that they've shown to get themselves to this point here and drag what was a very one-sided game to start off now to 42 minutes almost, then they'll be in great shape. But, I mean, Immunity have also kept farming. They kept getting stronger and stronger. They've still got Baron buff for a little while longer here. And I mean, this game for X5 is never going to be easy after what happened to them. And if they can pull it out, I hate to say it, but I think it would be a better comeback than Game 2.
And they have a Baron buff here. They have 2 super minion waves pushing. They just need to get the last few damage on this outer turret here. It might even be worth diving this turret just to secure it.
Oh, that's a good grab there for Rosie. Good Sonya, so Tidal Wave in there as well. Swoop is going to be okay for this one. Ripbox out of the chain of corruption, and there's Swiper in the back trying to defend off. Curse made those very low. They're going to take a lot of damage, but he does a decent chuck there running around his Stitch. Heavens with a decent Sonya's there as well, but Norman goes over the top, picks up the cannon. First mate's still in there, and they can maybe chase out this kill here. Immunity taking a lot of damage here. Zerk doing what he can. A good Aqua Prison there as well from Nami. Swiper forced to flash out there as well, and everybody lives on X5 just as they get 2 kills for 0.
And crucially, not losing any Nexus turrets. DJ Norman smart there to back off and try and clear waves.
So once more, Exile 5 are able to keep themselves in this game. I mean, as I said, I referenced the game yesterday between Fig Jam and Hot Soggy Decimate. If you missed it, you missed an hour-long epic comeback from Hot Soggy Decimate. We could be in for yet another one of these here, and not to tarnish either of the teams that played yesterday, but these are the 2 big teams here in Australia. This kind of game, coming back against a team like Immunity, would just be absolutely amazing. And the worst part is, Papa, this is game 2.
Absolutely, and at 10 minutes into this game, it looked unfathomable. It looked like Immunity had executed their strategy that they'd obviously been workshopping, executed to a T, they'd gotten the advantage, and it looked like they were going to finish it out at around the 20 to 25 minute mark. Swift has kept them in this game. He needs his team to all come together to try and win 1 or 2 more fights to allow them to take out a victory here.
And one of those things about Kassadin that people always think about, and one of the reasons he's not that popular in 5v5s, in particular in competitive play. I mean, obviously in solo queue, he's usually a pretty good guy to have. In fact, a lot of Australian challenger players like to play some Kassadin, so clearly it's been popular there. But Kassadin is always in trouble in lanes where he's going to get 2v1. He got 3v1 in this game, essentially, and his jungler could do very little to help him in there as well. One of the things that is on the other side of that coin, though, is that if Kassadin ever gets going, he usually doesn't stop. He gets to a point where he's been farming and then just can keep snowballing from there. And despite them keeping him down early, Swiffer was able to get so much gold and farm this game still.
Absolutely, and that early game pressure was negated by the Pentakill. It was negated by giving Swiffer a huge chunk of gold because all the work they did to hold him down, both through keeping DJ Norman low level and the 3v1 in mid, was undone.
Here it comes again, defending off those inhibitors. First mate's teleport still up here, so we could go back down the bottom line here. We see Swiffer just hanging out. One of the things that X5 do need is some wards in the spots that Immunity are kind of sitting around. Because if Swiffer goes a little too far, he may get picked off there. And even with stuff like Blitzcrank with Barris Ultimate, it's very easy, and Zach E as well. It's very easy for Kassadin to be picked off despite the Rift Walk if he's caught out in the wrong spot with no vision.
And it's Radier who has the Oracles here. Even the double stack of wards isn't going to protect them if there's an Oracle on the enemy team.
That's true as well. I mean, all Pause can really do is just walk out and try and ward up where he can. Immunity going to steal that blue buff away. And you might think, you know, it's 45 minutes into this game. Is it really worth taking away that blue buff? When you're scared of a Kassadin like this, absolutely. It is crucial to keep that timer up and take that away every opportunity you get.
The inhibitor's about to respawn here, which of course, they haven't lost any further objectives here, XL5 Eclipse. The Baron, once again, I think is going to be uncontested. They have to win another fight.
They really do. Immunity going to get yet another Baron here. I talked about the blue timer before, clearly timing this Baron up nicely as well. You can see X5 there on your minimap, not moving at all out of their base. There's nothing much they can do. Inhibitor's back up. It's a little bit of deja vu here, Papa Smithy. We've seen this before. one more time can X5 do it. Because if they can't, they are done in this game.
And the craziest thing to me, based time, even though there's an 8-0 turret lead, even though there's only a 3-kill advantage, 3K is a gold lead. 3K is a very, very small gold lead for Immunity. With all that global gold they've taken down with Dragon after Dragon, Baron after Baron.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. They basically lost most of the objectives and still managed to stay in this one here. Swiffer, again, going to be very aggressive here. Just try and poke down. Even the tanks, he's got the Void Staff. He's got a lot of AP. He knows he can poke them down. Maybe a recall bait coming out here. Yeah, he's thinking about it. He does have Home Guard now as well, I believe. Yes, he does. So that is there. Swiffer again chucking down Raider. He's got to be careful and not get too close. His GA is still up. I believe Zerk is still up as well. His GA, yes, it is. You can see the swells around there, but he's forced the DPS down towards the bottom there as the super minions push in. Swift are going to probably throw out a little bit of poke. There it is there. The Force Ball's going to come out. A heal in there as well from Nami. They're defending this inhibitor quite nicely here. Caitlyn's over the side, but she can probably move back over at any moment. And it's just one more tense fight here as we look. Are Immunity going to take this inhibitor out, clean up a fight and win the game? Or are X5 going to defend one more time and keep themselves in it? And there we go. Swiffer again. Going to throw the poke out there. A good Aquapus in there from Pause. They don't pull the trigger on the tidal wave though, and that is really important. They've got to time that very carefully from Pause, but Swiffer wants to go in again, swiping and getting chunked down a little. A good grab there attempted by Blitz, but it isn't going to hit out onto that Kassadin. Swiffer, I think, baiting once more. He definitely wants the Home Guard if he can get it, but he could riff walk back if he wanted to. But if he did that, Immunity would immediately pounce on that. So he's going to bait them here. He finds a little bit of time. He's going to go back, Home Guard his way back through. He is fully back charged. He needs the mana here, so crucial for him to be able to get mana here in the spot without blue buffs. And X5, they're still here defending that bottom lane's actually pushing out now a little as well, so they won't have to worry here. They can take Immunity on head to head here in the mid lane if they so desire. And it's so tense, Papa.
Yeah, one of the difficulties with the X5 comp, which we haven't discussed really here, is they don't have a lot of engage. I mean, we kind of need the insect-like maneuver coming out from Lee Sin here, trying to kick in a priority target, just because their only other engage is a Kassadin bait, which they've tried time and time again to mix success, a lot of success early, a little bit less recently, or Singed running in. And Singed, such a linear engage so late in the game, he will explode to target fire.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Thornmail here. He's almost got an Abyssal. Rosie getting very chunked there by Kassadin. And Immunity back out. They're like, uh-oh, don't want anything to do with this guy. And X5, they did quite have the team fight, but they successfully reset the game essentially here. And we're approaching 50 minutes now, Papa Smithy. 50. This game was supposed to be done in 20.
And I was wondering in my head, how are they still this even in gold? And the answer is that early inhibitor being down. They've been farming minions in their base for so long in the game. And that's one of the things having inhibitor down is they've had so many minion waves to farm. There's been no way for Immunity to starve them of gold just because they've had a consistent 2 waves almost of minions in their base. And that's why the items are the way they are.
I mean, do you remember the CS values early on in the game? It was abysmal for Singed. Singed has 300 CS. Kassadin has almost 300. Flash there from Radier. Zerk has 433 CS. I mean, they were so behind in all their lanes on CS to start things off, and now everyone on X5 is hundreds ahead of their opponent.
Well, I mean, Caitlyn's literally been AoEing down waves since the 18-minute mark of super minions.
Looks like going to Raider getting chunked down very low there. Grab there coming up from Blitzcrank. I mean, a few things can change here. Swiffer is poking back and forth. He wishes he had blue buff so badly, by the way.
He needs to go back right now, but Immunity are backed off, so the sum of the pressure from that Baron buff, 0.
Absolutely, and it's actually timing out right about now. Just a few seconds left on that one there. Everybody going to go back. I don't quite know the blue timer, but you can bet X5 if they can get it. They would love to give Swiffer blue. I mean, it's a kind of a short window, but when he has that blue, he is at absolute maximum power.
So he's been sitting on the Chain Vest for a long time here. Probably going to be a Guardian Angel pickup. Unfortunately, still a very, very long way away from that item. About 1,000 gold short still.
Yeah, he's almost there. GA definitely going to help him out there as well. It's kind of going to give him a second Zonya. It's definitely a second life he'll get in there as well. And X5, they still have to be careful here. The Baron, I think they know at this point now is timed out. Blue buff sadly not quite available, but everyone more or less raring to go. X5 have shown a willingness to teamfight Immunity in situations where they really didn't want to. Now on almost even footing, you have to think they want to. Again, a nice hook there from Rosie. Blue buff's going to get stolen. Perfect control of that bit of jungle there from Immunity.
Interesting to me that the Kennen here hasn't gone for a Void stuff. He's kind of gone for some tanky option, magic resist here, just because of some damage Swiffer's being put out. But that, even though he has the Death Cap, the Rhyolize, the Sonya's Hourglass, that Bulwark and the other item pickups on the X5 side, the Cannon's not doing a lot of damage at the 50-minute mark.
No, and I mean, Heavens is getting in there, he's positioning himself nicely, but you're right. I mean, Slicing Maelstrom is fantastic against Cassinan. It basically covers all the area that he could possibly be in, even if he Void walks out, so Rift walks out. And I mean, Kennen, he's usually a good teamfight champion, but right now, yeah, Kennen's that combo, not really what they want there. Swift are looking for the kill there on Heavens, would have chunked him down massively there with all his damage. Zerk even throwing Ace in the hole out there as well, but they're going to continue to just play safe here. They know if they can force a fight here, and to their credit, you know, Swiffer has been aggressive when he needs to. They've gone in a position where they need to, and a cheer comes out from the crowd. The first turret goes down, the first kill is out there, and Minions did the job there. The purple Minions, Papa, they're OP.
And I understand that the effect of Kennen being able to use that Rylai's, that's on his control space. But they have a utility tank in Nunu, they have a utility tank in Zac, and they don't have a hyper carry.
Oh, that could be, whoa. That could be Benny's hardware. They're going to follow in there. They know the ult down. Kick back Zac. They're going to pick up the initiator. Alicia getting chased down as well. Radiant Lord going to get slowed down. First mate goes in. He's happy though, but the Kennen ult's going to come out. Swiffer taking a lot of damage. He dies. That's not good news. Heavens picks up the kill there with all his damage, and I am going to keep going here. Radiant's still alive with his GA up. Zerk's one gets popped in there. That's going to be the knock up there with Power Fist. And X5, let's try and fight, but there's the shutdown. Heavens with the zone is there. A grab onto a minion there from Rosie as he tries to pick up Lee Sin, but that might not matter. A minute left on everyone in X5 right now. And with these three members, Immunity may be able to close out this game.
Yeah, crucially, the AD carry full health here, full mana. I can't see how they'll stop him.
Norman's going to try their great Aquaprism there from Pause. That might buy them more time, and that's what they need here. Turret, oh my god, the minions are so good. Tier 2 turret down. It could be base race here. It could be the X5 minions versus Immunity. Norman, they're going to get scrapped up in there as well. Lee Sin are reasonably tanky. I am going to be careful. They're kind of low, but the damage comes through there. Lee Sin going to die. Rady picks up that one for himself. They're going to keep working here. 20 seconds until Cassinan is here. Nexus turret 1 falls down. Pause. Pause. Buy some time, buddy. Aquabis, and he finds it. That's good for Rady. 10 seconds now for Cassinan. Rosie moving in. Chain of Corruption. Use the damage and stuff. 7 seconds away, but it's not going to be enough. Immunity. Do take it out there.
GG well played to Team Unity. Pastry time. Swiffer kept them in the game for so long, bought so much time, probably 32 minutes more than anyone else could have in this game. He got caught out once, Pastry time, just the once, and that was the game.
It really was, and for all the great play, one small mistake there from Swiffer, and unfortunately cannot get it done there. And Immunity, the best team in Australia, keep that title potentially here today with another win. That was a narrow 2-0 against X5. I mean, both games X5 showed such strength, such power. I mean, proving really why they are the second best team in Australia. Here we go, come on, give Immunity a hand.
It was just such an interesting series, Pastry time, because we had the first game where it was a bit of a passive laning phase, then suddenly we had almost an insane amount of pressure. They clearly had a pre-organized strategy there, and they executed to a T, Immunity, but held out for so long, it felt like we could see a replay of yesterday's, but that was the victory.
Yeah, X5 played so well, and they really do deserve a round of applause, audience. An amazing show they put on for us all here. That really is what Australian League of Legends is about. Oceanic League of Legends as well here, of course, as we are at the Season 3 Championships for the region. It's been a good 2 days. Some great games here. 2-0 both times, a little bit unexpected, potentially in this match as well. If there was going to be one that was going to go to 3 games, I would guess it was going to be this, but I guess that's not the case here in Immunity. Game 1 looked really good. Game 2 started really well, and just managing to eke it out there in the end. Both teams should feel good about the performance. Obviously, X5 going to go home unhappy, and congratulations to IM, of course. They pick up an extra $5,000, and now are 1 in best of 3 away from that trip to Cologne that they really want. And that's kind of one of the things that we didn't mention, actually. Immunity, for all their talent, for all their consistent winning in the Australian scene, one thing they've never gotten to do is travel internationally and compete.
Absolutely. The last big opportunity to travel internationally was the 2011 WCG Australia Finals, where they lost to Sequential. Since then, they've had 2 other opportunities to fly overseas, kind of cruelly taken away. And now this is their big chance. This is the kind of the final monkey off their back. They've won all the tournaments. They've won all the money. It's the international trip. It's the reputation that you gain from being able to compete overseas that Immunity won and will try and take out tomorrow.
Yeah, the final for tomorrow, of course, your grand final coming up tomorrow, same time there as well at 2 p.m., I believe. It's going to be Team Immunity from today versus Hot Soggy Decimate, the winners from yesterday. Don't forget to tune to that. It's going to be an awesome time here at PAX. And, of course, stay here at the booth. There's more coming up, but we are done for the evening here. My name is Pastry Time. He is Papa Smithy. We are Papa Time, and we'll see you tomorrow for our final.